Hello there. Are you thinking about getting into anorexia recovery, or you're already in anorexia recovery and you're wondering, is this going to be any fun? Or you're wondering, where did the fun go? Well, watch the following video, like or subscribe, and peace. Hello there, my name is Billie Julianna. I'm 49 years old and I have a 40-year history of dealing with anorexia nervosa. And I'm currently following the recovery methods espoused by Tabitha Farrar, Kayla Rose Katecki, and Elisa Orris. And I just wanted to ask a simple question today, and that is, why isn't anorexia recovery more fun? Okay, I know you are going, what a daft question. All of the recovery materials available on YouTube and on the internet and from my own self are all saying that anorexia recovery is difficult. It's a struggle. We're all trying to support one another through this process. So why ask such a stupid question? Well, I just want to look at my own recovery journey just for a bit and just see if I am making it harder than it need be. Because after all, anorexia itself is very difficult. Anorexia is combat, it's warfare, it's self-torture, it's self-deprivation, it's exertion, and it's very, very hard. And liberation from that should only be something that is, in comparison, very simple, and the way to get there should be a pretty straight path. And in fact, the recovery method that I have chosen is just that, simple and a straight path. Consider this. Consider this. The recovery method that I have chosen, as of 2 years ago, requires that I eat unrestrictedly and rest for a prolonged period of time until I reach a recovered state in which I am eating unrestrictedly for life, and I no longer worry about body weight or body size because my own body will take care of itself once I have fed it properly and once I have rested it properly. This is music to my ears. This is so freeing from all of this torturous living that I have known for decades. So why is the little journey out of there difficult? I've gotten on this recovery train and I'm chugging along, and yet I'm feeling like artillery and shells are coming in from the anorexic warfare over here, to the point where my train is going to go kaput, or I'm going to switch gears and go backwards, go back into the anorexia warfare where my train knows how to conduct itself, no pun intended, or can just hide out. So why is this happening? Why is my little train that is going away from the war, and the war is over here? It's not here. It's not in recovery, and it's certainly not at recovered. It's over here. So why am I thinking that shrapnel and shells are coming from over there, from over in the anorexia zone? So now I want to talk about my brain a little bit. And no, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I do know that there are two ways in which I think. And one part of my brain is not completely pickled with anorexia. In fact, this part of my brain has known all along, since I was age 9, that the whole combat and the whole self-deprivation and self-torture has been a little weird. That actually it's not really connected to reality, and in that way, it's a kind of fake. Now, the struggles and the hardships that I've been through, they have not been fake. But the greater part of my brain has known that my doing all of this has not been connected to reality. It's just not real. However, the pickled part of my brain basically runs the day in, day out way in which I live. And so for years, I have just run down the anorexic railroad all my life, basically. Tracks that were familiar, day in, day out, and it seemed safe to go down those tracks. However, the greater part of my brain is like, this one track over here is pretty clear. And you know what? It has a destination. That's liberty over here. That looks pretty good to me. The anorexic part of my brain, though, which runs the whole show, is like, are you kidding me? No way. That track leads to destruction. It leads to all these bombs that I'm going to throw at it to make it just crumple down and expire. That's what my anorexic brain is doing. So as I go along the recovery journey and get on this pretty clear path, what's happening is I'm getting shelled by my own brain. Not something that's real, but my own brain is actually making it a little bit harder for me. Now, I know you're sitting there going, that's too easy. That is too easy to go, oh, it's my own fault, because I actually feel really, really uncomfortable in all the changes that are happening in my body. So why are you saying this is so easy? I get it. Yes, as we refeed ourselves, our bodies start to go through changes, and they are physical and they are real, they're concrete. And yet I do put value judgments on these changes that make this little journey out of anorexia more difficult. For example, I have acne as a result of refeeding myself. My hormones have gotten kick-started and they're ready to roll, and so I've got acne from head to toe. And it's just a symbol that my body is working, and my body's expressing itself in some way by breaking out in acne. It's just temporary, it's gonna go away, but there's a lot that my body is doing in there that I don't even know about or even really understand. And yet I am putting value judgments on it. I'm going, ooh, acne, yuck, it's ugly, it's bad, it makes scars on my face. It's already made scars on my face from when I was an adolescent, so I don't want it again, but yuck, I don't like this. This is one way in which I'm making it harder for myself. Why put a value judgment on acne? It is what it is. It's a sign that my body is going through some changes. It's a sign that things are happening inside, and they actually are for my benefit. They're for my well-being. So don't judge this, kid. You know, that's what I'm saying to myself now. And yes, there are other things that I feel that I am putting value judgments on that I need to maybe look at again. And that is the different fat stores. I've got fat put here, I've got fat put there, and I'm not liking this. I'm like, no, it shouldn't go there. It should go nowhere. It should be not on here. Or it's gotten too far. I don't want this much, but yet I'm still really, really hungry. Oh, this is such a dilemma. Now this is just so hard because I want to eat and I just don't like all this fat store. Well, I need to stop myself yet again and say, hold up. Yes, you do want to eat, and there's a good reason why you do want to eat, because you have been in torture and in anorexic warfare for a long time. So yes, you deserve to eat. You deserve all that food. And you know what? Your body's going to store up a lot of that food and a lot of that energy for its maximum benefit. So when you see different jiggles and wiggles on your body, don't judge them so harshly. Don't get all up in arms and upset. They're just part of your body reactivating itself, rejuvenating itself. So please don't be such a harsh judge. Now, also, I know on the other side of the screen you're going, but what about society? Society also does not support what I'm doing. I've gotten to a certain place in my recovery, you might be saying, and I've gained a lot of weight. And society is looking at me and going, you know what? You look good. Why don't you stay right where you are? Why don't you just keep right where you are? You've done a really good job of getting out of anorexia. We're so glad you're recovered. And okay, great. You're well. Carry on. And yet inside you're going, oh, I still want to eat so much. And I really don't know who I am. I just think about food all the time. And everybody else thinks I'm well. And yet I don't feel like I am. I still feel like I need a lot of food, and I still feel like I need a lot of rest. I still want to sit around a long time. So why is everybody making this hard on me? And I want to just acknowledge that, yes, society does make it hard. And I'm going to just posit a very bold statement here, and that is, society is a little bit anorexic in and of itself. I know that's kind of mean for me to say, so excuse me, but you're right. Society does not make it easier. So here again, to keep our little paths clear, we need to stick with the people who understand us and who know that it's really a clear path, and that if you have gained a bunch of weight and you're sitting in the normal BMI zone and yet you're still hungry, it only makes sense to keep going, to keep eating, and enjoy your food, withstand all the body changes as best you can, because it's all good for you. And yes, you are going to be okay. Stick with those people who know that. The rest of society you're going to have to dismiss.
Don't you forget about me.
All right, so there's another piece out there that you on the other side of your screen are saying, but this is hard too. And I just addressed this in my last video, and that is exercise. And so many of us are like, but exercise is such a major part of my life. I cannot give this up. What do I do with myself when I rest? Resting isn't fun. At the same time, you're exhausted and your body is going, please, I want to rest. I want to sit down. Except your brain is going, I don't know what to do with myself if I'm not moving. So the little journey that you're on that involves a lot of rest for a prolonged period of time seems very difficult, because you're like, what do I do with myself? What do I do? And I'm saying that, you know what? Your brain will actually home in on something. For me, yes, for a while, I was actually a little bored, but over time, I've gotten more and more interested in different things. And it's just kind of amazing how that's unfurled. There are definitely times when I still get bored, and there are definitely times when I'm like, I gotta move. I gotta do some form of exercise. I've gotta work my muscles. They can't atrophy on me here. I've gotta do this. Help. But then I have to realize I can't, no, because it's just gonna feed the anorexic circuitry that is still there, and once again, take me back down those tracks that are so familiar. Don't need to go there. I get enough exercise just living day in, day out, just living. For someone coming from that war zone, just living itself is enough of a workout. So I don't need to worry about formal exercise. And yes, of course, for those of us who are really, really prone to exercise and compulsive movement, just resting feels like a struggle. But I will say again, your brain will home in on something else. There will be something else that will pop up. There may be a little bit of a time lag there where you're feeling just plain bored. But understand it will be okay. And just enjoy eating and enjoy the fact that you're resting and you're not having to get out there and slog. You really, really want this rest. So enjoy it, and enjoy the eating as you go along with it.
And I know.
All right, so I want to address one more thing that I considered as I was looking at my recovery journey and wondering why it was so difficult, and wondering if I was adding to the difficulty in some way, shape, or form. And I realized this, and that is all throughout my personal anorexic journey, not the recovery journey, but my anorexic warfare years, my biggest fear, perceived fear, through anorexia was that I would become a body size that is unacceptable to me. This fear has been so great through all the years that it has surpassed dying. I was willing to die before I became this unacceptable body weight. And I just want to say that if you are on the other side of your screen going, liberation means facing my biggest fear, which is becoming an unacceptable body weight. So how is that fun? I get it. I do understand that. It seems like it's not fun. But we have to go back and look at where this fear came from. Does that not sound like kind of a weird fear? I understand society isn't helping with this. Society puts a lot of value on size and weight and all of that stuff. And so in our anorexia, we picked up on that and we made it this huge thing to kind of block out all other big fears out there in the universe. And so weight and body size has become the ultimate demon. And I just want to say that this is ill and it stems from anorexia. This journey is going to take us to a weight that is appropriate for us, that is completely acceptable, because it will be the weight that is best for our optimal health. And we're going to look our best and feel our best at this weight. So no, we're actually not facing our greatest fear. Our greatest fear is an actual mirage made up by anorexia.
Anyway, the thing is, what I really mean.
So I'll go back to, why isn't anorexia recovery more fun? Okay, I'll acknowledge that it is difficult. That anorexia recovery is a difficult process, of course. But it involves so much of what we actually have wanted over time. We have really wanted never to worry about our body size again. Oh, thank goodness. We have really wanted to eat unrestrictedly all the processed foods that we can find for an extended period of time, until as long as our body tells us to do it. And we want to eat unrestrictedly for life. And we've also wanted to rest. So these are all quite enjoyable. And all the difficulty is stemming from the anorexia hoopla over here that really isn't connected to reality, that is kind of fake. Again, I want to acknowledge that your struggles in the past have been quite real, but your beliefs are all based on an unreality. So I'm just saying that it's possible maybe to enjoy the journey a little bit more, that it doesn't have to be quite as much of a struggle as it is. Now, of course, again, I will acknowledge that it is hard, because we have an anorexic circuitry that is running the show, that's gonna shell us and bombard us with artillery. And you're right, society doesn't help as well. But I just want to say, stick with those who understand you and who understand that this journey involves a lot of things that you actually want to do, and that it is a-okay to do it. And so you should just enjoy it. All right, I think I've talked enough here, don't you? Okay, so everyone, until next time, please go eat a bunch, go rest and chill, enjoy yourselves, take care, and peace.